Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having us. Quick intro. I'm Jonathan. Call me John. M&C Saatchi Performance is a growth marketing agency. We've specialized across the funnel and across app and web, but our heritage has always been in mobile. I've been here for a little over 7 years now, and it's been an exciting time to see everything grow and evolve over, especially, there's nothing slow moving within the mobile space. So excited to go into iOS with you all today.
Welcome, John. And you haven't started sharing insights, and already we have on the chart that M&C Saatchi Performance is doing fabulous job. Can but agree. So, welcome. And let me introduce our another amazing speaker for today. We'll have Aaron Friedman, co-founder and CTO at Singular. Everyone knows Singular, I think. So, hey, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Lena, and it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. Hey everyone, I'm the co-founder and CTO at Singular. We're a mobile measurement platform, aka M&P, and we help marketers analyze their results and data to show them their best performing results and help them optimize their campaigns, across paid ads, social search, or organic, really any type of channel. We work with companies at all sizes, from the early startups who are just launching, as we're going to talk about, like using our free product for their launch, and scaling up to top companies working with us like Uber, Airbnb, LinkedIn, EA, Vofio, and many others. And I'm kind of representing the analytics side of things. So I'll probably take that view in that panel. I'm very excited to speak today.
We're happy to have you, Aaron. And our next panelist is our very own Hannah Kachalka, Senior Head of Sales at SplitMetrics. Hey, Hannah.
Hello, Lena. Hello, Aaron, Jonathan. Nice to see you all here on this call. I like this definition, a very own. My name is Hannah Kachalka. I'm head of sales at SplitMetrics. I've been in mobile marketing for almost 7 years now. And we at SplitMetrics had the chance to work closely with top mobile marketing teams to scale their mobile apps. And today I'm excited to share insights on scaling iOS apps as well. And looking forward to a great session.
We all do, Hannah. So now that we have met all the panelists, let's dive right in. I'd love to hear your observations on the mobile app market over the past 8 months, meaning, of course, 2024. So I want you guys to share how has 2024 been so far for you, for the market in general, for the industry? And do you think it's been a favorable time for launching new apps on the App Store? Please share your thoughts. And I would like Jonathan to start. John, please go ahead.
Sure. Kicking things off. Yes. As I kind of alluded to, there's always something new happening. So it is a very busy time. I think for 2024, I was looking at a couple of stats, and it's interesting. I think that right now globally, on average, there are about 1,200 apps released daily. That is across Android as well, but that is just such a wild number. So I think it certainly is a positive time to release an app, but I think you just need to be very intentional and strategic with how you do so. Since consumers have so many options, and I think the average consumer only has fewer than 100 apps installed and certainly only uses even fewer than those daily. So how do you step out and be discovered? and obviously we'll go into that quite a bit as a key topic today. But I think certainly the combination of Apple Search Ads and ASO, App Store optimization, are crucial. There are, of course, other ways to drive people to the App Store, either through paid media from social channels, or organically, or through influencers. We'll dive into that as well. And looking ahead, it's quite interesting timing with iOS 18 about to launch. I've personally been beta testing it throughout the summer, but specifically to allow deep linking in your CPPs, custom product pages, I think will also be an interesting new development we're excited to test.
Thank you, John. Yeah, a huge number of apps are now released like regularly, but the competition is getting tougher. But I think we'll share some insights today how to win this competition. And meanwhile, Aaron, I would like you to join our conversation. What do you think?
So I completely agree with John. It's kind of aligned with also the trend that we've been seeing. So based on the latest quarterly trends report that we just released about a month ago, we see that mobile app revenue globally has increased by 12% year over year, which is definitely a positive sign. I think in 2023 and just preceding years with the whole privacy changes and ATT on iOS, I think many companies have struggled, but we're kind of seeing the recovery from that. And we're seeing many companies starting new apps and definitely scaling back. So that's been fantastic. We also see that budgets have kind of stabilized this year, even growing in many markets, especially in regions like Latin America and Asia specifically. We're seeing many more finding success in scaling there. Having said that, yes, it's definitely a competitive market. We're seeing tons of new apps being launched really every day. So it's competitive out there, and you need to find that kind of the unique way to be discovered and engaging with users. On the other side, there's definitely new capabilities out there. We're going to probably talk about the AI very soon, and new ways to really give more value to users, and we see a lot of activity there. So I'm excited. I think there's a lot of kind of new types of ideas that we're seeing across our customers, and it's going to be interesting to see how the year develops.
Thank you so much, Aaron. And Hannah, what do you think about this?
I couldn't agree more. As Aaron mentioned, the number of paying users is growing, and this is a very positive sign. Although I would say, well, based on a couple of researches I've made previously, it looks like the number of apps on the App Store remains quite stable for the last years. If I can share my experience at SplitMetrics, we see that many of our clients, especially bigger brands, are focusing more on brand awareness, I would say, and scaling their existing products rather than launching new apps. However, on a positive side, this March, we've launched a starter pack for SplitMetrics Acquire with free access for scaling growing businesses. And right now, during the last 6 months, I believe, we already have 1,500 small and growing businesses using SplitMetrics Acquire on this free basis, which means that there is a huge interest from new businesses, from new apps to use solutions for their scale, to use the solution for improving their marketing activities, to probably later on invest more into the marketing activities. So from my side, I do not see any red flags in terms of launching new apps. The market is stable, and as Aaron said, I agree, there is a huge competition, and I think we will discuss this topic moving forward. But with the right marketing strategy, I'm sure that the new apps can achieve great results as well.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, guys. And now let's move on to our next question. And I wanted to ask, based on your observations and expertise, of course, and considering the current trends in various user acquisition channels, what marketing strategies would you recommend for iOS apps that are just being launched? As promised, we first discuss the apps that are new to the market. So what would you recommend? John, could you please share your tips?
Sure. So I think certainly discoverability is key. That's obviously the starting point. And I think actually I saw a question come up that felt a little relevant to this topic. Someone asked, should new apps start by focusing on a single channel, or is it better to adopt a diverse UA channel mix? Because I actually was going to touch on that a little bit. Um, of course, will depend very much on your own goals, your budget available, things like that. I personally would recommend against only one. I think ideally around 2 to 3 if you can, sort of afford it and whatnot. Mainly because then you have a comparison point. I would always caution against only looking at, say, only Apple Search or only Meta, because you want to make sure that that's not a variable and you make a significant decision to either pull away or change something in the app because of that. Then you'll learn a little bit more. And then as far as, certain trends that we're seeing or strategies, if your app has, maybe more mass appeal, perhaps a more sensible approach could be to start with high reach channels. You could certainly do that through Apple Search Ads. Maybe you won't have as many brand terms at first unless you're an established brand going into the app space. But there's certainly plenty of discoverability within non-brand terms, within the search tab placements and things like that. Otherwise, I'd also consider the high reach and targetability and sort of CPM efficiency of programmatic display, because then that's how you can also get your name out there. You could play with visuals and explain quickly to a consumer what your app is. So that's something I would consider. Of course, there are also the key social channels that you could look at as well. But it kind of, again, as I started to say at the beginning, it all comes down to your goals, how aggressive and lofty they may be, and what budget you might have available. It may be a little tough to go purely organic unless you kind of go a PR route or work with key influencers and things like that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, John. Certainly, the PR work and working with influencers can make impact here. And Aaron, what do you think from like the point of view of analytics?
Right. Yeah. So typically when we see kind of the apps just launching or starting, again taking the analytics perspective, the first practices would be, first of all, of course, like establishing like the basic kind of setup of your analytics and data points to really look at your key metrics, right, over time and see that they match your goals. So the first thing that you need to understand is, how do you know if the launch is successful, right? And you would usually want to like decide with your colleagues on kind of the top metrics that are important to you. Might be retention metric, might be engagement. Of course, on the upper funnel side, might be like the conversion rates and impression rates and so forth. So kind of setting these and then setting kind of basically you can start very basic, right? Like understanding where you're collecting the information from, looking in the App Store metrics, of course, looking at some of those UA channels, reporting dashboards, right? Basically the impressions, the clicks, and kind of the conversion rates there. And of course, your in-app performance coming from these. So whether the retentions, what's kind of volume, what's the engagement of your customers. So usually kind of starting with that basis is extremely important to then prove or understand whether the launch is going towards the right direction and you're kind of gaining that confidence around that launch, or if you need to iterate some things to get that direction, either with the audiences that you're trying to aim for, or just even just the performance of your app, if it's functioning as you would expect. And when you also have those results to show to your colleagues, basically, that also gains the confidence on setting up budgets, right? So kind of increasing that further, experimenting with more and more channels and scaling from there. So that would be kind of the focus I would recommend when you start with your launch.
Very insightful. Thank you, Aaron. I think you guys who are launching new apps are writing down right now. Meanwhile, Hannah, what's your take on marketing strategies for some newly launched apps on the App Store?
Yeah, sure. 100% agree with Aaron regarding the analytics importance and the data that we collect, because based on this data, we're going to take important decisions moving forward. From my conversations with clients, with what we have in the user acquisition team and the ASO team, and what I see for the clients who are coming with the goal to launch new app, I would like to highlight, and for me, this is super important. Do not underestimate the importance of App Store optimization. As Jonathan said before, being discoverable through the metadata optimization, increasing conversions through the app page improvement is crucial, not only for the organic performance, but also to make your paid user acquisition efforts much more efficient moving forward, to make sure you do not waste your budget. And so, as we've mentioned before, competition is one of the biggest challenges the app marketers face with. And right now, even for the well-established brands that have a lot of resources and budget, the competition is a hot topic. Not to mention newly launched apps. When you are coming to the market and then you need to be discoverable, you need to be present in the lists, and this makes the efforts much more significant when it comes to App Store optimization. So my advice is to research the audiences, research the market, competitors, first of all. Find your niche. This is something you should definitely consider when launching new app. Speaking about the niche, by the way, this is also important, and this is a strong advice that our agency team is giving. It will be much easier for you to stand out from your competitors when you find this niche. For example, if we're talking about, let's take fitness category, then you have a marathon app. Please focus on this value proposition. In this case, it will be easier to attract a target audience. Then next thing is App Store. In the App Store optimization is the conversion rate. Screenshots, icons, the thing that comes next when people get to your product page and then they decide whether they would like to install the app or not. This is super, super important. And I see from the ASO team's efforts, from the designers team efforts, I see how big changes you can make when optimizing the screenshots, how you can increase the conversion rate. So please do not ignore ASO topic. Then as the next part, after the ASO topic, I would highlight the Apple Search Ads part, because this is the, I would say, field I'm focusing on, and I see how these two channels, if I can say, if I can call App Store optimization as a channel, are connected. For example, we've tested different approaches at SplitMetrics here, but one of the things is once your App Store is optimized, you can start investing into Apple Search Ads, because let's say you have a good optimized metadata, you have a good conversion rate from the product page, but the app can still be in, I don't know, on 50th position in the list, which makes it not really discoverable still. But when we connect Apple Search Ads, when we add these top keywords into the Apple Search Ads campaigns, it helps us to also increase conversion and at the end of the day, increase the position in the store listing. For example, just a real case that we had, and this is not a unique one, but just to share a little bit of this exact case. We have been working together with a client who's been developing the AI app, specifically the app that is capable to produce videos based on user prompts. And then these clients reached out to us and wanted to check the keyword cartoon, how it works, whether it will bring new users. And we considered various scenarios here. When users want to create video out of themselves, or when they film somebody and want to apply a specific filter. And initially, this app ranked poorly on this keyword at a position 50 or something organically. In other words, this means that nobody will find this app because nobody scrolls down the page to 15th position. Then we integrated this cartoon keyword into the Apple Search Ads campaigns. And as a result, we witnessed an increase in downloads, which is great. But also what we've seen that we've kind of given a positive feedback to Apple App Store algorithm, because it evaluates the app based on the relevance of the specific keyword and considers also the conversion rates. So for instance, if users search for a keyword and after that tend to download the app, achieving a certain conversion rate, Apple considers this as a good keyword and a very relevant app. And as a result, not only the TTR has grown for Apple Search Ads campaigns, but also the app has been climbing up when we organically when we start searching for this keyword. From 50s to almost 10th position, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a great result. And I would always encourage to also combine ASO with Apple Search Ads campaigns, because this works perfectly well when it comes to discoverability of the app, and makes Apple Search Ads App Store optimization efforts even more efficient. There are a lot of other strategies you can use, but I wanted to share the experience that we have internally here. And for newly launched apps, this is something that's worth trying, of course.
Can't but agree with you, Hannah, and interesting that both Camille and Hannah shared the importance of, Camille, our previous speaker, the importance of ASO. And spoiler, we will have a great session about the interconnection between Apple Search Ads and ASO later today. But meanwhile, let's focus on our current interesting and insightful panel discussion. So, all right, now let's switch to marketing strategies to like giants in business, marketing strategies for well-established iOS apps. Once an app is live and has had a steadily growing user base for years, the challenge becomes how to scale it further, especially in the current economic climate, if you understand what I mean. So sometimes it can feel like there are no new ideas left to take the app from good to great. So guys, our experts today, John, Aaron, Hannah, what expert advice do you have for overcoming this and finding this next big idea for growing already successful, already big and well-known app? John, let's start with you.
Sure. Yes. So I would honestly just say keep the consumer top of mind and actually ask them and encourage feedback. Never underestimate the value and power of your current customers. If you're established, you have a large user base, a large even CRM that you could tap into. Your hand raisers, your biggest fans, they're the ones who could maybe give you some additional insights that, to your point, Lena, that maybe, you've thought of everything, you've had so many brainstorms and you're just tapped out on what else to do. There are certainly paid ways, if there are channels you haven't explored yet or audiences, etc. But then also, what else can you do within the app itself? So, this constant feedback loop, there are so many ways you could go about it. First, going through all the rich data you can get from your MMP, like singular. And you can understand what really brings people in and then retains them. You could do surveys. You could leverage that first party data to reach out to people. You could use push notifications to like testing there to understand optimal times to try to re-engage people, and really just further optimize the product itself. Overall, I'd say, yeah, product-led growth. So, that's what you could learn a little bit. And I'd say keep that in mind. Make sure you preserve what is working the best for your app currently, and then start to iterate with a little bit of testing of, of course, this will depend on your product, your budget, etc. But are there new features that you could bring in to give your current users and new users more reasons to keep coming back? If it's a game, is there any new gameplay you can have? Overall, is there an improved ease of use? As new iOS 18 comes out, are there any features there that you could play with and implement them quickly to be, a little bit more cutting edge? If you're e-com and retail, are there any other special deals or app-only promotions? I definitely see that happening a lot, especially in the travel space. And then what other natural ways can you bring people back? I know it's a little bit of a dated example at this point. Personally, I'm still one of the ones who still uses Be Real pretty regularly, but that was a big game changer of the daily, you don't know what time it's going to hit, but you'll get a notification to make your post. And that was such a, new and different way to bring people back in day over day. So what other kind of, things that may seem a little left field, but something that you could try to do? And then I guess lastly, if there are, for example, if you've reached, say 90% or the majority of your current consumer base that you would normally assume would be your primary user, are there any kind of niche audiences? To Hannah's earlier point, like how can you start to find other groups of people and maybe have certain features in the app that could speak more to them. And you could have a very targeted media approach with very specific creative, very specific targeting to kind of explain why they should consider the app. Yeah, I think hopefully it's a lot, but hopefully at least one example resonates with someone here today.
It definitely does. Thank you so much, John. Sounds very reasonable and insightful. Sometimes some things are on the surface, and sometimes some things are under the surface, and you like covered both. So thank you so much. Really interesting. And Aaron, now back to you. Please share your thoughts for well-established apps on the App Store.
Yeah, so maybe just I'm completely agree with John, of course, and the ideas there. Again, going back to the analytics perspective, I think a lot of it is around testing a lot of new things and checking the results and trying to see what sticks and what works for your own app. Because really, we see that every app is very different, and those different methods just work for various reasons. So it all starts from just that iteration loop that is as fast as possible to understand what's going on, and then iterating from there. So if the methodology kind of remains the same with that constant iteration, there are endless ideas that you can try. There are new types of UA channels, new type of advertising networks, media channels, and campaign types that you can try. There are different types of creative types, right? There are some who work with videos, and again, depends on your category. There are playables, there are videos, there are more of the banner types. There's kind of the influencer and the user-generated content. So each of these can work with different apps and use cases. There's different types of new audiences and so forth. The whole idea is to just try new things and iterate from there. I think one of the interesting challenges that happen as you scale, again, going back to the analytics side, is the analysis also changes. I think I saw a question here earlier from Manuel on what's typically the ratio between the organic versus paid installs, right, that you can expect. And the truth is, it changes through time as you scale. You know, once you launch the app for the first time and you're not really very much recognized, probably you won't have too much of organic traffic, and you need to work on the distribution and find the ways to get this organic discoverability while focusing a lot on trying to testing the first paid channels. But as you scale, and of course, if you go to the giants out there, a lot of their traffic is actually organic. We actually looked at their averages, based on the quarterly trend reports. It's interesting. It's the average worldwide for iOS is 50% organic versus paid. But that covers really all the different sizes and scales. When typically I look at the startups, I see more of the focus on the paid installs versus, of course, the Nikes and LinkedIn's of the world, where a lot of the traffic, really most of the traffic, is organic. So then it increases kind of the challenge on the analytics side of, so if a lot of the traffic is organic, and it's still dynamic, right? You're trying to still understand how your efforts contributing to also your organic traffic, because there's other factors in play, like the K factor, the virality of the app, right? People recommending their friends. Those are also areas that typically the scaling companies are starting to look into more. Areas like media mix modeling, trying to do more incrementality testing, trying to validate their assumptions on the measurement side to get more and more sophisticated and understand what's working better for them. One more practice that I see that's definitely leveraged for scaling companies is something that John mentioned, and just going to emphasize again, is using your first-party data or kind of your existing user base to gain deeper insights and to use these for constant optimization. So by that time, you have a large user base that you can either ask questions to understand what's working for them and what's not, and you really understand, okay, what are the audiences that are similar to these, and you can definitely work with the existing media partners out there to gain more, basically double down what's working, essentially, and finding more of your kind of core customers.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aaron. And one of the key insights for today is not to forget about organic, because it's still a strong, powerful channel. And meanwhile, Hannah, the mic and the floor is yours. Could you please share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, thank you. Great insights, Jonathan, Aaron. Thank you very much for sharing. Just not to repeat, I will focus more maybe on Apple Search Ads as a channel and technical side of things. One of the best practices in Apple Search Ads is setting up keyword discovery campaign without any predefined keywords. This is basically something that is done across many SplitMetrics acquire users, and you can automate this process. All of these newly discovered keywords, highly performing keywords, can automatically be transferred into the brand, generic, or competitors campaigns. So basically, this workflow can be organized on the background, and Apple Search Ads will be looking for these new opportunities, new scaling opportunities automatically. Then also, in general, with SplitMetrics for Apple Search Ads, we're focusing a lot on finding these opportunities for scaling, because for well-established brands, this is one of the main goals, to find opportunities for scaling. Because when your brand is strong, the app is on the market for quite a while, it's getting a little bit tricky to find new revolutionizing ways to get new users. And so another feature at SplitMetrics Acquire is keyword gap analysis. So the tool suggests keywords your competitors are bidding on, and that are probably missing from your campaign. So you can take those keywords and fill in those gaps to get more opportunities for scaling. What else? for custom product pages, by the way. For custom product pages, we do provide the analysis of competitors' custom product pages and predict the results that they are achieving. So basically, the users can get ideas about what's performing in their category on which keywords, and then take these idea strategies into their plan. And also, there is a part of automation for the share of voice growth and impression share growth. This is what helps to increase also market share for our users, because you can see what's your impression share for specific keywords, and then set up the automation rules that will help to increase this share of voice based on your competitors' data, how they perform against your keywords. This is not everything we have. We have great plans related to also artificial intelligence, AI, that would also help finding new opportunities for scaling. But as of now, this functionality is something that is very, very frequently used in order to scale and get new opportunities for growth for already existing and established apps.
Thanks, Hannah. Speaking of AI, this is our next question for today for our wonderful panel. And I'd like to shift our focus to the latest technological advancements, which imply AI. So, guys, I want to ask you in scaling app marketing efforts. Is it effective? Do you utilize that? Do you know some great examples about that? So, John, as usual, please go first.
Yes, sure. So I think in our experience, a really great way, and I know I'm sure Hannah will go through more specifics within Apple Search and ASO, but just in general, how you can use this for creative. So I think when you look outside, of course, within CPPs and, Gen AI can help with speeding up or making creative testing there faster. But especially if you're trying to do a lot of testing across social channels or programmatic display that would drive to the App Store, I think just the benefit of Gen AI to be able to help with that. Even outside of Gen AI, just regular, like a ChatGPT type, to give you new ideas and just kind of exploring other themes that you could try. I just really see in an age of like signal loss with, across web, across app, and not being able to have the same level of granularity deterministically like we used to in most cases, creative really becomes such a big lever. When you look at TikTok's algorithm, it is so creatively driven. It knows better than you what you want to see. Sometimes it feels like. So the importance of creative almost as a targeting lever, that's something we really are focusing on here at M&C Saatchi Performance. And I would just underscore that maybe it's not so much the creative testing of the past where you would change one tiny little element or move this text to this side or something like that. I think the more you can test very distinctly different versions, that's what's going to really help most of the biddable channels algorithms find the right consumer for you. And so I really see AI being able to help with that. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't but agree that AI is great, especially TikTok algorithms, as you noticed. Thank you, John. And Aaron, the floor is yours. Could you please share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, of course. There's obviously tons of opportunities that AI creates. Definitely, the creative side is a natural way to test very easily. But if again I focus on the analytics side, then there are many kind of new interesting ways that you can use the data with AI to gain deeper insights that otherwise would be difficult to get. classic case that we hear also from our customers who are some of the advanced models. They say, I can export all the data I have, put it in an AI model, basically, and share. Give me some insights that I'm not seeing, like what should I focus on, right? Like even simpler questions on these, on like highlighting, hey, these campaigns are performing better than others. This is like a key metric that looks a bit off. This looks like a great opportunity for you. It's definitely ways where like think about like you're a consultant that can really help you focus on interesting areas to look into, which is really exciting. And especially if you start involving adding more benchmark related data. One of the common questions we see, so like even in this chat, is what's the standard kind of benchmarks for this metric or that metric? Imagine that the models can have access to all these benchmarks and compare data with these and provide you very tailored areas to focus on, right? Areas to explore further. So we think there's definitely tons of opportunities on leveraging AI to get those deeper insights and help kind of the day-to-day there.
Thank you so much, Aaron. I like your approach, focus on analytics technical side. And Hannah, could you please share your insights about like probably incorporation of AI into some marketing practices?
Yeah, I'm actually really happy to see how many products right now in the market are integrating AI as part of their functionality, because it makes my life so much easier, to be honest. On the SplitMetrics side, we actually do the same now, and for Apple Search Ads, again, we have AI and machine learning products already integrated in the platform, and it allows to optimize campaigns performance based on the machine learning algorithms and AI, so that at the end of the day, the users can get the target numbers without digging deeper into keywords, bid management, etc. Also, as Aaron mentioned, smart suggestions, ideas about what should be improved, where to pay attention to, some recommendations about the optimization decisions. This definitely makes people's lives easier for sure, because otherwise again, analytics teams should analyze so big amounts of data in order to come to the conclusions, which AI can do much quicker and make our work much more productive. I don't believe AI can replace people, but it definitely empowers us to work faster and much more efficiently. Then also, I know that our clients, especially big brands, big companies, they are using internal BI systems that can be integrated into SplitMetrics as well. And again, the AI algorithm will help to analyze this data and then also use it for the optimization processes for Apple Search Ads. So again, my opinion, AI will make, and it already makes our life easier, not to replace the creative and strategic input from humans, but that's great that we have it already. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. I think that's great news for everyone. I believe that too, that AI is not going to replace any one of us, because it's effective when we are cooperating, like when we are using this effective solution, but it cannot replace human brain and creativity. Well, it appears we have reached the end of the session, although it moved so fast. It was packed with insights. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you so much, John. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Hannah, for sharing your thoughts, your take on and insights on effective marketing strategies for both young apps just starting and for well-established apps. That has been very useful. And we hope you guys, our audience, you take away actionable insights and steps to enhancing your app growth strategies. We are unfortunately out of time for this session, although we have a lot of questions. And as promised, we will answer them all, address them all afterwards. Thank you guys for joining us today.